Hi everyone, today we are making a world from scratch, so it's gonna match the look of my other neighborhoods in Willow Creek that I've made so far. So if you haven't seen those videos, feel free to check them out on my YouTube channel. On this lot here, it's just gonna be a house. I'm not gonna do it right now. There's gonna be 2 houses, a tiny house, probably a vet clinic, and I think I was going to put a diner here. I don't know if it looks kind of weird in this neighborhood, like kind of tucked away, but we'll see. So I've already put a couple of buildings back here earlier, and these lights up here, I can't get rid of those. You're gonna need a few mods for this process. So I will be using TwistedMexi's tool mod, the Better Build By mod, and a Winged Llama Willow Creek and Newcrest emptied mod, which removes all of the base game world plants and objects in the background, so all of the decorations. Those are all hidden, and let me show you. If I take a base game tree and I pull it into the world, nothing is gonna be there. So basically the mesh for this is gone, and I won't be using any of these base game trees. I'll be using ones from other packs, and a lot of these are the same. Actually, these ones here, not all of them, but some of these might still work. Like that one still works, this one still works. So yeah. You will also need a Winged Llama's Worlds Made Clickable mod. That allows you to click anywhere in the world in, your normal gameplay. Sims can walk further than just this little area right here. Let me get the tree out of my hand. There we go. So if I wanted to, my Sims could walk all the way over here and anywhere you want them to go. I'm gonna keep most of my decorations, like interactive objects, in this immediate area. Maybe this will be turned into a park or something. I don't plan on having anything for your Sims to do over in these areas. This is just a background, but I do like to add some extra interactive things into my world, especially when I'm building it from scratch. I have so much potential to do whatever I want here, which is really exciting. And it can be a little bit overwhelming, but once you get the hang of it, it's not too hard, and then it starts to go fast. You will also need Baki Gaming's City Skyline Remover, and the backdrops by Floral Sims. So let me show you those first, because I think that's probably the most important thing to plop down right now. So I'm gonna go to my search bar, type in it's Floral Sims. So don't just click one of these. Usually you should click up here, and that'll bring up anything that includes that word, and not just the stuff that is specifically named. So if I click up here, it'll search for everything that has this in the name of the object, but if I just click one of these, it's only going to bring me to that object and the ones around it in the catalog. But right now I want everything that has this in the name, so I'm going to click that. I'm using the Better Build By mod. There are a lot of helpful videos on that already, so I'm not going to explain it too in depth. So if I click one, I can get that to be bigger and I can see it. So now I've got all these really cool backdrops, and I have been using a lot of the same ones for all around Willow Creek. And I guess that makes sense because it's all the same world, and you might see the same mountain from multiple views. I think that's okay. So it's a gigantic thing like this, right? I'm gonna rotate it the way that I want it first, which isn't necessary, it's just easier for me. I'm gonna hit Shift T to open tool. I'm gonna click on it. It doesn't highlight green like other objects do, but if I click in different spots, you'll see that it's selected and it moves. I don't want to put it on one of these lots because, for example, if I put it on this lot, I clicked right here, so that's where it's centered. If I build something that I don't like it and I delete this lot, it's also gonna disappear. So I'm gonna, oh, I guess I can't undo that. Well, I'm gonna put it back. And I wanna make sure that when I place it, I put it off of the lots. Let's see. There we go. So now it's selected. It's hard to click everywhere in the world when you can't move your camera everywhere. So I'm gonna hit T and go to my top down mode, and I'm gonna move all the way to the edge of my world. Maybe not that far. And I'm gonna click here, and then I'm gonna hit T again. It's gonna bring me back to my lot, and then I can see that in the distance. All right, so it looks a little bit weird because it's kind of going off the edges of this world. If I hold Option or Alt and I click a little closer, I can move it I can move it closer to me in little bits. That's too much. So that's a little easier than just clicking. It might get too close to you. Also, remember that the undo here is different than undo here. So if I click undo here, it'll undo anything I did in the tool mod. And if I click undo here, it's gonna undo anything I did on the lot. So it will delete if I placed an object. So I want that object, and the tool mod is just keeping track of adjustments that I make while in the tool mod. So it's hanging off the edges. I'm going to go to elevate, and I'm gonna move it down maybe like 10 for now. Oop, it's not selected anymore, I don't think. Let me try that again. Oop. -10. Okay, so now it's lower. I think it still looks pretty good. So if you want lower mountains, that's how you do it. And some of these other ones, see how it's floating in the air? You might have to do the same thing with some of the other backdrops, like place it, click on it, drop it down a little bit. So if you can't see something, it's probably up in the air. And let's see, did I use this one yet? I think that is the one that I just used. Isn't that the same one? Oh no, this one's actually different. Maybe I'll use this too. So I like this one, and I like the ones from Outdoor Retreat. So where are those? This one's also really nice. It's a very wide, beautiful mountain range, but it's very blue. So I would recommend this for like something way in the distance. They're very big mountains, and they have that blue atmospheric perspective haze to it. All right, I like this one a lot. I think it's actually a little too big, so I'm gonna hit Shift and then use my left bracket key to make it smaller. And I'm gonna click it again, make sure it's selected, yeah. And I'll bring it closer to me, but I just don't wanna put it on a lot, because then it'll get stuck to that lot. And it's okay if it doesn't look perfect in the distance, because we're gonna cover it up with stuff. And all the other trees and things that we use will kind of blend these areas together. I might actually just put more of these around the world. So let me get another one. If I want to duplicate something and I don't want to get it out of the catalog again, I can hold Option or Alt and then Shift and then click, and that will make another one. And if I hit rotate, maybe I'll do like 180 degrees so it's on the other side. And I think I'll lower it a little bit because I don't want that gap there. I don't want to have to worry about hiding that. Okay, so now I've got some trees, some mountains. I just have to do something on this side. Sometimes you have to like zoom in and get low to see if it all looks good. So that's good for now. I'm gonna cover up some of this stuff here with other trees. I like to mix them because trees all have slightly different greens. I think this one is a good one to start with though. I'm gonna grab my trees though and make sure that the sizes kind of match so they look similar to each other. I've been using a lot of the ones from Cottage Living. So this one, these don't look the right size, but I can, let's see. I'm gonna get rid of tool mode so I can just use my brackets to size things. These ones, I think I have a plant override and that's why they look more realistic. Yeah, I definitely have a plant override for that one. But they still look fine when you blend everything together. So I'm gonna go back to tool. I have this one facing me right now, this big one. I'm gonna drop it back there. I'm gonna do a couple more. When they start facing the wrong direction, I'm gonna rotate it a little bit. So I'm gonna hit minus so it turns towards me. And let's do maybe 20 degrees. Also, when you hit Shift and Alt to copy it and you click, it's gonna go at the same height in the world as the original. So if I wanted it to be up higher, I'd have to click up on top of here again. But I actually liked where it was. So I'm gonna keep that there. I'm gonna copy it holding Alt and Shift. I think I'm holding Alt. Yeah, Alt and Option are the same thing, right? I'm on a Mac. And now I'm gonna fast forward this next part. Basically, I'm just copying these and going around and making sure that they're angled towards me. Okay, so I've done my first layer of trees around, and I'm gonna add in some of these other ones just to make it have a little more dimension and make it look a little bit more interesting. So now that I'm done placing all of these trees, you definitely don't have to do all the rotating stuff with tool. You could drag one of these backdrops. Let's see, I don't have one selected, but you could take one here and then use this to rotate it and then use tool to place it. I guess I like the repetitiveness of placing them all and rotating them around. Now, before I add real trees all over the place, I want to put in any major buildings that will have trees around them. This is a pretty main road over here, so I think it makes sense that we have some more decorative buildings back there, just like these ones over here. So place down all your buildings first and then add trees. So let me go to my let's see. Usually buildings are in outdoors and sculptures. So I don't want any of the base game ones because they don't have well, some of them do, but most of them don't have footprint, right? So I'm gonna just skip all of the base game objects so I'm not searching for each one trying to figure out what works and what doesn't. So I'm gonna go to packs, select all, and I don't think I'm gonna use any buildings from stuff packs, but just make sure that you don't have base game selected if you're doing it my way. I'm gonna speed through as I decorate, but I'm using the same method as before where I use tool to move things to other places in the world. Okay, so I'm pretty set on where these buildings are. I might change some things later, but I think this is good for now. And the next thing I'm gonna do is start adding some trees. So if you use the same tree or same cluster of trees over and over and you paste it, and you paste it, and you paste it, that looks fine, but sometimes it starts looking repetitive. So I would suggest taking some of your trees and making them a little smaller or changing them to a different angle. So I don't know, maybe like 45 degrees, make them, they're already 100%, so I'm gonna go 1.2, that's 120%, make them a little bigger. And that way we have more of a variety of trees. What you can do if you want a lot of variety in your trees is grab your trees and your other trees, make a cluster and change the angle a little bit. And I'll put this one over here. That one's a little smaller. And maybe we could even put in one of these trees. So once I have my cluster, I'm gonna click. If I hold Alt or Option, and then I click on the other trees, it'll select those two. So I'm gonna select all of the trees in this cluster, and I'm gonna copy all of these at once. So Alt or Option and Shift, and then click. I don't want to do too much over here yet because I'm gonna build here and then I'm probably gonna put a park, but you get the idea. Shift click, Shift click. See how they're sunken in the ground? I have to click one more time to raise it up on top of there. Okay, and then I'm gonna do the same thing over here. Shift click, click again so it's on ground level, and click. If it starts looking repetitive, you can rotate this whole group. So I'm gonna hit rotate around center, make sure that's checked off, and I'll rotate it about 90 degrees for now, see how that looks. Okay, so if that's covering up the path, I'll just fix it later. Shift click, and you get the idea. Okay, so now we have a lot of trees, and what I'm gonna do next is add some grass and some bushes. This is kind of an extra step, but I think it helps it look extra overgrown and realistic. So we're gonna do the grass and the plants in the same way. I could definitely do more with the plants or have more variety, but I'll probably end up changing up things later, especially in this area right here. So as I build each lot, I will add more plants to make it blend into the rest of the neighborhood. So like this stuff here, I don't know what's gonna happen on these lots yet, but whatever landscaping I do, I will use the tool mod to blend it outward so you don't see like a box shape around their yard. The last thing I'm gonna do for this video is probably just decorate with a couple of objects. So there are some things to do in the woods over here. I have a lot of similar areas in the other neighborhoods, but I want to make sure that each neighborhood has some fun things that Sims can interact with. So picnicking spots, playgrounds. Now you can watch me finish decorating, and I'm sure that I will add more things later as I get more ideas. Right now we've just got trails going through woods, but I think we could do some more interesting things in here. I almost forgot something important. So, even though the streetlights are hidden, if you go into night mode, you can still see the lights. So, what I'm gonna need to do is, not with these ones, because those are already visible, but with the big ones, I'm gonna have to put these street lamps back in. So, I'm gonna find it in here somewhere. So this is the one that's hidden. And there should be one that's the same but isn't hidden. This one. Yeah. So I'm gonna use this one in this world. I'm gonna go top down because I have to do a lot of them. And I'm gonna put it here. Copy one here. So that is really the last thing that I do. I'm gonna include some screenshots at the end of this video. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below, and you can get updates for this save file here on YouTube or on my Patreon if you follow me. So all of that will be linked in the description below. If you like this video, you can subscribe if you want to see more.